All right, here we go. Okay, so this is going to be a video describing our new method of modeling, texturing, and uploading assets onto the drive. We're going to try to better optimize the assets that we put onto the drive so we're not putting so many things and so many textures into folders that just isn't necessary. So here we go. So your modeling process is going to be the exact same. In fact, there's only really one step being added here into this entire thing. So we're still taking a base model that we created in Maya, editing and unwrapping the UVs in Maya, exporting that model. That is all the same process. Exporting that model, texturing it in Substance Painter. This is just an example texture I did. Very shitty, but this is what we decided to do in the art meeting. But you're still texturing it here and exporting the textures here. Now, usually, after you export the textures out of Substance Painter, we've just been then uploading the textures and the model into the drive. And then eventually the people in Engine will take the model and take the textures and then figure that out in Engine. Not anymore. We're not going to do that anymore. Now, I have proposed, and we tested, and it worked, a new method of doing this. So essentially, after you export the textures from Substance Painter, what you're going to do is go back into Maya and apply the textures to the model. So it's very simple. When you get a texture in Maya, it's like this. So for example, we have a Lambert texture here. It's one texture, just one thing that you can assign it to whatever object you want. When you export out of Substance Painter, you'll usually get three little files. A base color, a normal map, and ambient occlusion. That's what this is called. It's usually, it could be occlusion, roughness, metallic. It's just those nodes, whatever is affecting that is usually the ambient occlusion. So you'll have those three files. So you'll take that back into Maya, and you'll go to the attributes page, which is in the attribute editor. So it's where your texture is usually applied. So there's a modeling toolkit, channel box. You're just going to go to the attribute editor. You might have to go through the tabs, but just make sure you're on a page that looks like this. What you're going to want to do is we're going to start with the base color. All we're going to do is go right here to this checkered symbol. Click on that. Click on File. It's going to pull up this little page with this right here. This will be blank. So usually it'll look like this. And what you're going to do is you're just going to open that. You're going to find the texture. Mine's a little messy. So you're just going to go down to Substance Painter, and you're going to grab your base color. And you're just going to open that. And that's your base color. Ambient occlusion goes in the ambient color node. So it's the same process. Click on the checkered item, go to File, open the folder, assign the appropriate texture file. In this case, for the ambient color, it is the ambient occlusion file, otherwise known as occlusion roughness metallic in this case. And then finally, going back to the model and the texture, for the normal map, we're going to look at this bump mapping. Now this one's a little different. When you go here and go to File, you'll notice it goes to this little thing. This is just a bump node. Basically, what's this doing is it's basically just adding a modifier onto the normal map to actually make it work properly. This is important. Make sure to change this use as thing right here from bump to tangent space normals. This will make sure that the normal map is actually properly good to go. And then once you do that, a simple way to get back to that little page where we can upload the file is just to click on it, click on the file again. You'll see it'll say file 24 now. Just click on this little thing, it'll go in. Now it's this page. You open the thing, open the folder, grab the normal map, all that good stuff. That's all the same here. So that is how you can do that. That's one way. That's the way we went over in the meeting. So you have that. You've assigned your maps to that. Some models you might have multiple textures that you'll need to do. So you'll need to go through that. But then you will just go to File, export it as a FBX. Make sure you export these objects as FBX. There's usually two ways that you can export a model. One is as an OBJ, which is an object. The other is FBX. If you export it as an OBJ, basically all that means is that the textures are not going to export with the model. So when you go to insert the model into the engine, you'll just be inserting the model itself. But if you export it as a FBX and try inserting it into the engine, the textures will come with that. So it is all stored neatly into one file, which is what we're going for. So make sure to export it as an FBX. So this is the method that we went over with during the meeting. And you can see in engine, this is what it looks like right here. That is what that looks like. Okay. To recap, this is the steps that you should usually take to do a model from here on out. So first two steps are the same. We're still modeling in Maya, UV editing, then we're exporting that and texturing it in Substance Painter. But now we're going to go back into Maya, apply those textures, and then that is when you export only the FBX file to the drive. So it's just one file that you'll be uploading to the drive instead of all these different files. Now, there was something I forgot to mention. In the ambient occlusion and the normal map values, the files that we uploaded, you're going to want to change this setting for color space here. Usually its default is sRGB, like that. It'll usually be like this. What you're going to do is you're going to click on this, go to Utility, and set it to raw. So you're going to do that for ambient occlusion, and the same thing for the normal map. Make sure those are both set to raw, and you will be good to go. There is one issue with Unreal. When you upload it to Unreal, the ambient occlusion doesn't track very well, but that isn't something that we really need to worry about. So if you're editing a texture and worrying about the ambient occlusion a lot, please do not try to make your textures as simple as possible, because once they are in engine, we have a filter on them anyways that kind of masks the detail. So just make sure that you get the model, make sure you get the color on there, a little bit of texture, a little bit of detail. Still make sure the texture is nice for your portfolios, but if you don't want to go too detailed, don't worry about it. It'll have a filter on it in engine. But that's about it. Bye bye.